much for being here. We will go ahead and get our meeting started. It's 8:37. This meeting is being recorded by our wonderful YouTube Murkison channel, and so if you know of people that aren't able to attend today, feel free, this link will also go out, but let them know that this is being recorded and this can be shared with our family. So, a few things to get started. We appreciate you all being here this morning. Today we have the Anderson community that will be our guest speakers today, followed by after we do our PTA business and our principal chat. They're going to give an overview of some 8th grade information for our 8th grade families, and then for if you have 6th and 7th grades here, it's always good to just kind of plan ahead and know what's coming. I would like to call Julia Lenz, to our secretary, to come to go over the minutes.
Thank you. So last month, October 24th, there was a general meeting minute. They're around the table if you guys want to see them. There is a committee that was appointed of Becky, Erica, and Tima to review the minutes, and they reviewed them with no concerns, but you guys are welcome to look at them as well. Any concerns that we hear so far? There are none, so we'll go ahead and approve them as presented. The board met last week, November 14th, with a quorum present, and Karen will appoint and approve the next minutes to be reviewed by Becky, Erica, and Amanda for the November minutes that we are taking today. And next up.
Okay, and now we'll have our 2VP, Becky, to come and give us an update on our membership report.
We have 485 current members. We're still getting some more coming in, so everything's so good.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. And now we have Erica Butler with our 1VP report.
Short and sweet. Teacher needs have all been purchased. We did have to push some cabinets till after the break because they were going to be delivered over Thanksgiving. So we are going to reorder those next week. We have had a new request to help with the TLC Teacher's Closet. If you haven't seen that, go out in the newsletter. They are very short on snacks, so please bring snacks. And we are going to help them provide those as well. And new gym mats have been ordered, and they should be installed soon.
Does anyone have any questions on that? Okay. All right, Kate Weber with sponsorship.
No updates on sponsorship. Still excited, but if you have any would-be sponsors, please send them my way. Oh, you want me to do that in this section?
Will you go to the next slide? This is, just so you know, this is a list of all of our sponsors.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be Spirit Nights too. Sorry about that.
Spirit Nights, we are still waiting to hear about our total donations from October. Grimaldi's and November Spirits Night at Honest Mary's. The Minted fundraiser is ongoing, so watch the newsletter for more updates about those. For Minted, it's minted.com/holiday, code fundraise matadors. So if you're looking to order some holiday printables, go there. Our no hassle Tumblr gift card thank you gifts have been delivered, so thanks to Liz Neff and Amy Hart for all of their hard work, and to everyone who has contributed.
Yes. So this is the one, if you'd like to take a picture or write this down, this is for the holiday cards, and it's a discount for you personally, but then they also give a % back to the school, so it's a double win. And then Honest Mary's was last night, so if you were able to attend, and then we'll have some more Spirit Nights coming up in the new year, which is crazy to think. Now I have Amanda. Our financial update, around the room there are copies of our financial position and our next budget versus actuals. For the period of our last meeting up until November 14th, the PTA's beginning bank balance as of October was $162,567.57. We have a total income of $8,524.19, and our expenses were $25,687.68.
We had our sales tax liability and escrow of change at $481.36 and an ending balance of $146.68 and 50 cents. After a discussion with the board last week, I'd like to move to add $2,000 to our teacher needs fund to cover additional costs to support teacher love and care, the TLC, and our secret cause who have not yet been protected.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve these two amendments for the teacher love and care and to adopt the remaining secret pals on staff. Okay, so Mary Kay. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so the motion passes.
Any questions on finances?
I'm Tima today. By direction of the Executive Board, I move to adopt this budget amendment as stated and approve the teacher needs budget. Amanda St. Aubin has made a motion to adopt this budget amendment and approve the teacher needs budget. This comes from the board, so no second is needed. Is there any discussion? I don't know. All those in favor say aye, say no. Motion passed.
Yay! Very good day. Okay, so it'll be really nice, especially with the upcoming holidays and extra with the kids and finals and everything. So it's just a nice little incentive. A few updates for me. The directory spot has been updated, so it takes a little bit of time to get that going because they have to make sure that all the students are in and uploaded before they can upload it to the schools. So that Ashley Perot helped us with that, and that has been taken care of. The fifth grade showcase, the fifth graders are coming. They are. It's a chance for them to come see the school and to meet their administrators and counselors and hear about the different electives and languages. So that's going to be happening for fifth graders. That's student only on December the 16th. They come as a field trip from their elementary schools. And then the Marcus and Choice Sheet Night is going to be in January the 21st. There's more information to follow. There will also be a book fair going on that same week. Eighth graders will be taking their field trip to Anderson in January. The PTA wants to do a parent panel on January 28th with just some transition questions from the different schools from rising from 8th grade to 9th grade. For staff appreciation, April Beatty and Julia Zimmerman have done the Thanksgiving lunch for our staff. In December, they're planning on doing hot chocolate and toppings, and then they have continued with the monthly birthday cakes with Tima and Marissa. The sixth grade dance was a blast. The Halloween dance, they always love it. It's their first time to actually get together, and it's also, I think the parents love it too, because it's a time for them to get to meet some other parents and see what the school's like, see what their kids like, be a fly on the wall, so it was a lot of fun. The seventh grade dance is coming up in February, the 20th, and then eighth grade, all things eighth grade will be in May, so May is going to be busy, so just mentally prepare yourself, eighth grade families. Mat Fest is going to be April the 10th, and I have Wendy here that's running Mat Fest this year. She's our Mat Fest chair, so she's going to say a little something.
Hi, everyone. We had our first kickoff Mat Fest meeting the other day, and it was fantastic. We have some great volunteers, but we can always use more. There are spots to fill, and we're really hoping Mat Fest this year is we're going to take it to another level. Mat Fest is really fun. It's a great time for the kids that really come together as a school. And if I remember, the staff loved the bingo, because I did bingo last year, and it was lots of fun. So I encourage anybody who wants to volunteer to please reach out to me. There's lots to do, and we're excited about it. So.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, and I'll turn it over to Principal Harris.
Do you want to go for that?
All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. I have a few announcements and updates. I'll start with some celebrations. We're in the middle of our girls' basketball season, and so far we've only lost one game, 7th grade, to O. Henry. 8th grade is still undefeated. Our boys' soccer teams are also still undefeated. They do have a game this Saturday before we go into break. That's at O. Henry. All of their other games have been here on our field. So we've had home field advantage, so that could kind of be why we've been undefeated. But this is the one game that we're at the opposite school, so we're at O. Henry this Saturday, so come out and check them out before we head into break. Then theater, they did their one-act UIL play, and they did get some great awards. They didn't advance, but they've got quite a few awards. There was, we had an honorable mention for All-Star Cast Award. We had an All-Star Cast Award. We had 2 Best Overall Performers. We won Best Crew and Best Overall Technician. We also won Best Tech Crew overall, which I believe that's the first time we've won that award, Best Tech Crew. So they did great. They also did 2 performances. I think it was 2 or 3, right? 2 performances here last week. The first one was on that Thursday night, and then Friday night was sold out, and so a lot of people got to see the one-act play. They've done a really, really good job, and the boosters raised some money so hopefully we can 16,000. Oh, no, it's 16 because it was 15 at the yay. We went up for 16,000 to update our stage and curtains and riggings and things. They're the original from 1967. So it's the old stuff. Where we got Mr. Michael Martinez. This is his 2nd year here, and last year he was a first-year teacher, and he was like, none of this is code, and I was like, oh, that's your job to figure out. I don't know anything about theater, really. So I'm like, you figure out what we need, and we'll figure out how to get money and hopefully make it happen. So they're doing really well. It was a great show. I also want to congratulate band. They participated in the TMEA, all-region band auditions, and we had 8 students that earned a spot in the all-region through these auditions. So they have to go to a clinic and then a concert that's going to be at the AISD Performing Arts Center. So we have 8 students there. All right, and I know when we come back from Thanksgiving break, choir is doing a combined kind of field trip and tour, their holiday thing with Anderson Choir as well. So we got a lot of fine arts is kicking up on their performances, and then we're going to be ending our 2 sports seasons as well. All right. Other things, staffing update. We still have an 8th grade admin vacancy, but we do have a long-term substitute that's going to be with us till the end of the year, unless we find a candidate that can start mid-year. But we have Ms. Lover Goodman. She has a lot of experience. She has been a high school principal down in Bryan College Station area before retiring, and she was also a special education coordinator as well. And she subbed for us on some shorter times, and so we knew her, and then she likes being here, and so we asked her if she could stay on a long term to have some consistency until we find the right person that's the right fit. We do still have 3 teaching assistant vacancies that we have one person that is subbing one of those positions that is interested in going full-time. So we're going to have some interviews next week, not next week, when we come back from break. Definitely not next week. I won't be here. When we come back from break, and hopefully can get some of those filled as well. And we still have the PE vacancy. We have Mr. Gary Threadgill. He's our long-term sub there. That's been a hard one. I used to think PE would be a lot of candidates, but it's a kind of hard one because there are some candidates that we interviewed that they want to just do PE and not coach sports and UIL. And I was like, it's secondary. You don't just teach PE and then you're done. You're going to coach, and it comes with a stipend, but there's more to it. And so we had some candidates that didn't really understand that, so they weren't gonna fit. So we have a very good sub. So I'm glad we have him there that we can take our time. And I also think with the consolidations coming, I think we'll get some candidates from other schools that may be repurposing or closing, unfortunately, but they want to stay in AISD, and we may be closer to where they live now. I mean, who knows? And we may get some candidates that have experience and when come over to our campus now. That'll be great for us. So that's that on the staffing. And then what we have coming up, we are almost at the end of the semester. We're going on Thanksgiving break. We come back, we have 3 weeks, and then we're on our winter break, and we finish the fall semester of 2025 already. So we come back from break that second week in December. We do our winter map growth. We did one in September, beginning of the year, and that's where kids have been working in their IXL on whatever their map growth was, so everyone has their own plan. So then we do a winter map growth, and this this is district-wide grades 3 through 8, and we see where kids grew for that. Based on this data, we may actually do some changes to advisories. We may have 1 or 2 advisories that are more like targeted intervention for reading or math, depending on how kids do on that MAP growth, and we will send out that information if we do move any kids around. We did some small groups last year, and it worked really, really well because it was during school, and they didn't have to try to get the kids to come after school or come before. They could just go to their advisory and get their intervention. So we may be doing that as well. December 16th, just like Ms. Knight mentioned, is our 5th grade showcase. That's when we have our 5th graders all come here, and we do a rotation. So they get to see mainly the elective classes. So like in the gym, they get to see the band perform, the orchestra perform, the dance team perform, so they'll know what they're choosing. Usually in the library, we have the choir will sing, theater does a little short skit, and then we'll have the art teacher, and so they get to see those classes. And then we take them to the C building, which is pretty much the 6th grade building, so they get to see their building. And then they'll get to hear from our language teachers and from our career and technology teachers, so they'll kind of know what those classes are like as well. Then we have final exams for high school credit classes that week before we go on break. And then we come back and we have our choice sheet night, and that's for families and incoming students, especially incoming 6th graders, but anyone that's new that's going to be coming here as well. And this is where you actually get to talk to the teachers. Each teacher will have their own table about their class, and you get to ask questions and kind of see. So we wanted the kids to see it, so they kind of go home and say what they're interested in, and then they can come back with their parent and then actually talk to the teacher about that class in January. And the book fair, we usually have it the same week. So then that night you can come in and do book fair as well. So that's all the updates I have until we're next move on. All right, thank you, ma'am.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay, there is a few updates with Mary Kay with ACPTA.
Yeah, and I guess most of you heard by now that in the wee hours of the morning, the district did pass some of the consolidation plan. They did.
I'm sorry, so they can film it.
Yeah, for the media class. Good sounds for the kids. Okay, so in the wee hours of the morning, as many of you know, the district did pass some of the consolidation plan. They did pass to close the 7 low-performing schools. And then they split out the vote on the dual language, but they did decide to close the 3 dual language schools. So that's 10 schools that are closing, and I have honestly lost count of how many turnaround plans and improvement plans and stuff, but there were a bunch of those that passed last night too. So that's where we stand right now. If you were watching, the last version of the plan did not include Riker Woods, Maplewood, and Palm. They got pulled from the plan, and they will be discussed in the spring. And the district and so a lot of the boundary changes that they were proposing have not passed yet either. So we're not done, but they did make a historic step last night.
Any questions about that? Is there any other business? Okay, our next meeting then will be in January. And if there aren't any other questions, oh, yes.
Can we ask people to please do the survey?
Oh, yes. There is a survey that has gone out in the newsletter, and it's for, I wrote it down, but I brought the wrong piece of paper.
PTA School of Excellence. We're trying to become a PTA School of Excellence. We're trying to renew our PTA School of Excellence. And in order to do that, we do a survey at the beginning of the year, we analyze the results, we make some programs, and then we do a survey at the end of the year. But we're at the beginning of the year survey right now. We need to have at least 20 people do it right now at 10 o'clock. So if you have a few minutes, it really takes 10 minutes. And you don't even have to think too hard on it, we just need numbers.
The survey is in the newsletter, and it's a growth improvement plan, and so we've received this reward the last couple of years, and so we just want to continue it for this upcoming school year. Thank you, Mary Kay. Okay, is there anything else? That's it from us. So it is 8:56. I will conclude the meeting, and I will introduce the Anderson team that is here for today.
We'll get them all set up.
Yes, and we'll get you all set up.
Can we also get a sign-in reminder?
There's also a sign-in sheet that's going around. So if you haven't had a chance, have all the tables seen the sign-in? I'll pass it around. start with introducing Mr. Lancaster. This is Brian Lancaster. He is the principal over at Anderson High School. And he's amazing. He's wonderful. And a former English teacher, so he's very good at explaining, whereas I'm more list person oriented. Yes, we are bullets. Here, listen to our math. We are bullets.
I'm a certified math.
Are you? Okay.
And English, one of those.
Okay, please. And we have a Murkison YouTube channel, so that's why we're talking through the microphone. So that way you're being streamed live.
I have never wanted anything more in my life than to be an influencer. So thank you. Good morning, y'all. My name is Brian Lancaster. I'm the proud principal of Anderson High School. And so what our goal here is today is to let you know a little bit about who we are, what courses we offer, and kind of the process for what the next few months is going to look like for any 8th graders who are moving to Anderson. All of Murkison is zoned for Anderson, so if you're an 8th grader following your attendance track, you will come straight to us, and we are happy to have you. And so our goal is to make that process as seamless and informative as possible. So I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. This is my 3rd year as the principal of Anderson High School. This is my 15th year in education. This is my 6th year as an administrator. All of that was at Anderson High School. And so before that, I taught English and 1 year of math, which was misguided. But yeah, that was, I came to Austin in 2013. I spent 3 years working at a charter school in Colorado. I'm not going to tell you what it is because then you'll look it up and see that it was in the news, which is why I left. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Charter schools. So I'm married to my wife, Allie. We just moved into our new house. She's a student at UT getting her PhD in rhetoric and writing. Rhetoric is the way that we use all the ways that we communicate to make points and convince people. And so if you ask how the arguments are at my house, I say we have none. In my free time, I play trombone still. I'm a lifelong band nerd. I play with a band called Dead Music Capital Band, and I organize a music festival that happens every year in Austin called Honk Texas. And I also love trivia. So that's a little bit about me. We also have an associate principal named Jesus Molina. I didn't update it. Dr. Jesus Molina. Gareth Horwood is here. He is our lead counselor. Sarah Limon is here. She is one of our main academic counselors. Donald Hatcher, there's a story here. He was going to be here, but then we won a by-district game, and so now he has practice. So we'll see if he makes it. He says he'll be here at 9:30, but he'll be here if he's... Sean Doctor is our International Baccalaureate Coordinator. He is on his way to Mississippi to pick up a puppy. Yep. And Jill Spencer is our College and Career Center counselor, and she spent a long time as the IB coordinator as well, so she's been very helpful to us as we put together this information. She is unable to make it today, so you have a nice crew here. We also have Kayla Orton, who is our Trojan Bells director and our Fine Arts Department chair, so she's going to talk to you about some of the fine arts programs a little later. So our mission statement, you can read right there. We want to provide the absolute very best possible learning opportunities for our students in partnership with the parents in the community. We know that we have a place as a community center for the Northwest Hills area, and so we like to involve everyone in our decision making and providing the full support of everyone to give our students the best opportunities possible. So I'll just sum it up there. And our vision, we will reflect the rigorous curriculum and the community service, which are the benchmarks of being an IB World School. Anderson is Austin ISD's only IB diploma program. So that is where we get a lot of our students who want to come to Anderson to follow that pathway. It's available to 11th and 12th graders, but we have a lot of students who transfer to Anderson in 9th and 10th grade because they want to start that process and get the background that they need in order to be prepared for those IB classes. So our greatest number of transfers happen in 9th grade because we highly suggest that any students who want to pursue the IB path come for 9th and 10th grade so that they can get that background. Some of our goals, we want all of our students to be creative thinkers and problem solvers, and they possess the global perspective. Okay? Part of being an IB World School is making sure that we have those opportunities for them to think that way. High achievement will be reflected in all academic and extracurricular activities and endeavors, and all students will graduate ready for college, career, and life in a globally competitive economy. We have 4 main student expectations for learning. They are not very different from most of the other expectations for learning that you will find in any other school, but we really emphasize the respect, the responsibility, the effort, and the focus. And that focus part is getting a little easier, what with House Bill 1481, which has been interesting. Some facts and figures, we have 2,174 students. That was what was submitted to the state at our last count. For high school, the count of students is very important every 2 years in October. That determines your districting, and we have not found out yet where we are in terms of 5A, 6A, or redistricting. My anticipation, my full expectation is that we will continue to be a 5A school, which is really where we belong, because the last time we were in 6A, it was by 8 students, and we got pummeled, so it was rough. So we like to keep around 2,200 students to kind of make sure we're at 5A. We have a lot of opportunities for parent involvement, the PTSA, the Campus Advisory Council, lots of booster clubs, lots of opportunities for parent volunteers to come and work in the school and be involved. Spend some time with Ashley Perot, navigating people through the front office. We are a non-ranking school. That means that by state law, we only rank the top 10% of our student GPAs and then none of the others. So there are in Austin ISD ranked schools, which means they rank everyone. So you will find out if you are 422nd out of 422. We do not do that. So we only rank the top 10%. That'll start getting really important as your kids enter their junior year. We're very proud that 82% apply to at least one university or college, 60% will attend a 4-year university, 29% a 2-year university, and we earned $21,434,463 awarded in scholarships in 2025. Our College and Career Center really puts in a big effort to make sure that our students have every opportunity that they can to do what they want after high school. We included this just so you could see what it kind of looks like. We do a block schedule. Are you guys on block here? Yes. Okay, yeah. So we do a, what?
We follow y'all as we share.
That's right. Yes. So we do a block schedule. We have A and B days. The only real confounding factor here is advisory. We have advisory for, that's where we get out a bunch of our school business and do our character strong lessons, which are some of our SEL and character building things that we do for our students. But we also have that time on Tuesday through Friday for flexible tutoring. So students are able to request that their teachers put them in their flexible tutoring Tuesday through Friday. That's where we get students who need to make up assignments because they were at an athletic event or they were at band. And then also we have lots of our students need some extra help in English or math, and that's their opportunity to do that, is on Wednesday and Thursday specifically. Otherwise, students just stay in their 1st and 5th period class and have that time as a study hall, or they have that time to get caught up. Our lunch, we have one lunch. I think the district is kind of pushing us to go for 2, but for now, we have one lunch. And it is a closed campus. That means that only seniors are allowed to leave campus for lunch. Everyone else stays on the campus. and I will pass it over to my very capable favorite counseling team.
Good morning, everyone. In a few moments, we'll talk about some specific programs that Anderson offers and go into the details about the classes that students can choose, but we wanted to begin by talking broadly about the course selection process, because when students get ready to pick classes, we want students to know specifically how they do that, and then also the opportunities they have to learn more about Anderson and the classes we offer. So, we have a kind of course selection process that runs all the way through January with multiple events, and then leads into both our course fair and then a course selection due date for actual class choices. But for Murchison students and for all of our feeder middle schools, we're going to talk a little bit about what we do after students have selected their classes as well, because we have an extra step for our middle school students as they join us in 9th grade. Before we go into those details, just want to let you know that there are graduation requirements for high school. They're very specific. They're the state requirements to be able to finish school. They are 4 credits of English, 4 credits of social studies, 4 of mathematics and 4 of science, 2 LOTE, that's languages other than English, and then 1 credit of fine art, 1 credit of PE, a half credit of health, and then the remainder out of the total of 26 that every student needs to reach is electives, 5.5 electives. And we get questions quite a lot during the course selection process about what happens if I do, say, more than 1 year of PE or more than 1 year of art. All of those classes that are up here, once you do more than the minimum for graduation requirements, those classes then go into the elective category. We actually have 8 slots every year, 4 years, for a total of 32 slots that you could take classes in, but then 26 credits are needed for graduation. So as you can see, there's some flexibility for students once they get to senior year to do off periods if they want, because they don't need that many credits, or students to do double block sports, because if you do double block sports, one of the periods counts for credit and the other doesn't, so you have 2 periods, but only 1 credit. But we've built in the flexibility so that every student, as long as they pass every class, will be able to finish high school on time and earn the credits that they need. Students, along with the credit requirement for the state, also have to earn an endorsement. And although it seems like a complicated process to earn an endorsement, we try to really simplify that. The state has 5 different endorsement opportunities: the multidisciplinary endorsement, arts and humanities, business and industry, STEM, and public service. Now, not every school in the state offers the opportunity to earn all 5. In fact, at Anderson, we can do 4 of the 5, the top 4 there, so STEM, business, arts and humanities, and multidisciplinary. But basically what that means is before the end of high school, every student has an area of expertise where they've taken classes in a pathway that says, okay, you've done all of these classes, you earn this endorsement. A really straightforward example that actually affects Ms. Wharton is if you do 4 years of dance, that's 4 years of an art class, which means you can earn the arts and humanities endorsement. Because we don't know precisely what every 8th grader will end up getting as their endorsement, we have a kind of safety net. We put every 8th grader before the first day of 9th grade onto the multidisciplinary endorsement. The easiest and most straightforward way to earn the multidisciplinary is by doing 4 English classes, 4 mathematics, 4 science, and 4 social studies, and we put students into those classes anyway. So basically, by coming to Anderson and doing the classes that we require, you're going to be on the pathway for multidisciplinary, which means that all the other endorsements are like awesome bonuses on top of the multidisciplinary. So every student in 8th grade, they should plan to be on the multidisciplinary, and then they could add another one based on the classes they might choose. We have a course selection website within Anderson's website, and we'll see if we can pull it up here. And if we can, you'll see that every year we update that course selection website based on any new information that students might need. On that website, you're going to see everything from a link to the actual course sheet that students will submit, our entire course offering list, which is approximately 10 pages of different classes that we offer at Anderson High, a newsletter that gives you up-to-date information that's kind of unique to the 25-26 school year. So every year we kind of update the newsletter about our big events related to course selection. and then some detailed information about things like the endorsements I mentioned, programs like student sharing, other things within our district like our Clifton courses. So basically, if it relates to picking classes, it's all in this one place. And just so that you know, if you saw what we did last year for course selection, if you have a student who comes to Anderson, for instance, an older sibling, we use a Google form for our course selection, and students pick classes based on their grade, and within their grade, there are like bespoke drop-down menus just for that grade. So if I'm a 10th grade student at Anderson, and I'm about to go into 11th grade, I click on 11th grade course sheet, and it pulls down the classes 11th graders can take. So there's no confusion, students can't pick things that they're not meant to pick, and then you also know precisely what every other student in your grade will be selecting from. Your choice then is, do I take the honours version of that class, or the AP version of the class, or the on-level? So you get the choices that you need to get, but it's all kind of given in a way that you can determine what you should be choosing. So there's little confusion. And the big part that I want to emphasize is that Anderson counsellors and our entire staff are here to help through the process. The actual window of course selection is a relatively short time. On the 22nd of January is when we have our course fair on campus at Anderson, where students can find out more about all of our programs. All of the teachers will be there who want to talk about those programs. Staff will be doing presentations that night to talk about course selection, to talk about Anderson. So basically, it's a way to roll out all the information a student might need to pick classes correctly. And then, if that on the 22nd is the first day of course selection, it's also the first day where we make the form go live so that students can start filling out the form. What we've learned over the years is we don't want the form accessible before the course fair, because sometimes students pick their classes and then they come to the course fair and then they say, oh, I found out about this amazing program, now I need to change my choices, and they change their choices, and it can be a little bit confusing for students. So the same day that we have the event is the day that we open the sheet, and that goes live for students. And then we close that sheet for submissions on February 9th. So you have from January 22nd to February 9th. And the reason we have kind of a limited amount of time is it gives us the opportunity then to check in with students who didn't submit anything by February 9th and make sure that they quickly submit a class choice list. So the window is kind of short. It's full of big events and things that give students information about picking classes, and then once that is closed, we can then directly reach out to anyone who forgot or didn't get a chance to submit something. So once we kind of get into that process in January, you'll have events that you're publicized, such as open office hours with some of our counsellors at Anderson. I think that's going to be the 23rd, the day after course fair. And also you'll have contact information so you can reach out to Anderson counsellors with any questions that you may have. We'll also have videos for students to show them like literally how to fill out the form, so there's no confusion there. Just lots of information that kind of comes out during that time. And now we're going to talk about a few of those very specific programs that students want to know about, starting with our International Baccalaureate program. As Mr. Lancaster mentioned, we are the IB school in this area, and because of that, we have some incredible opportunities for our students who decide to go into the International Baccalaureate program. We have two ways that you can be an IB student. IB Diploma, which is the full program, which involves multiple IB classes throughout your junior and senior year, and then also some extra components, such as an extended essay that students work on for multiple months, a CAS requirement, which is a community service or charity component, and that diploma at the end of your high school, that's the same as getting an IB diploma anywhere in the world. It's kind of a statement that you get at the end of high school that says, I completed all of these requirements, I may earn college credits because of the IB exam results I get, but holistically doing the IB diploma means that you are able to say to a university, I took the most rigorous course of study available for high school students. We also let students select a few IB classes throughout junior and senior year without doing the whole program, and that is called the certificate program. The certificate program basically means if I'm a junior or a senior and I choose just 2 or 3 IB classes, but do not do the whole diploma program, I still get the chance to be an IB student, take IB exams, potentially get college credits. And so really, you have two pathways, but you don't have to decide that yet. Students make that determination if they want to go into IB, and then if they want IB, whether they're certificate or diploma, they make that determination halfway through sophomore year. Please.
So as we're talking about IB, and I would have Sean Doctor here who would tell you more about the opportunities. As we separate diploma and certificate, one of the things that has been a thorn in my side is how many students lose the opportunity to go into IB because they are really passionate about band or sports or robotics or something like that, where they want to fill their schedule with things that they are passionate about, but they also want to challenge themselves in IB, so they have to make that decision. So one of the things that I'm really excited about with our new IB coordinator, Sean Doctor, is that we've had a lot of conversations about how to eliminate that as much as possible. So no promises as to what we can do, but we are really looking into how we can bring different IB opportunities to our schools, such as IB music, IB dance, IB film, so that we open some of those pathways to students who would have otherwise seen those closed off. So hopefully soon, students might not have to make that determination of, I want to do band, so I can't do IB diploma, but instead they will say, I will do an IB diploma and I will be in IB music with band. And so that can be one thing that we offer moving forward. So no promises yet. We're still looking into how we can make that happen, but that is something that we are actively trying to make.
So if IB is one, oh, you had a question, sorry.
I have just a really quick question. On average, what percentage of seniors graduate with that IB diploma?
So I spoke to Mr. Doctor last week about this, and I think right now we have a class of, is it between 70 and 80 IB students? And it's a majority are certificate right now. Correct. So from the group of seniors we have, you may have between 80 and 120 every year who are IB students, certificate and diploma, but more than half will be certificate. So our goal, I think, as well, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is we would love to make the diploma over the next few years the real focus and grow that number of students as well.
Not at the cost of certificate. We want to grow the whole thing.
What's a typical senior class size?
A typical, this year's is 532 students. So the International Baccalaureate Program is one of our examples of ways you can potentially earn college credit during high school. That's based on the IB exams. Another way you can earn college credit is through dual credit. The phrase dual credit effectively means you're doing a high school class and a college class at the same time. So we have a partnership with our local community college, ACC. This allows high school students to enroll in a class that they're doing at the community college or on our campus, but it'll count for both places for credit. A really common example of that for us is that we have an ACC US History class. US History is a graduation requirement in the state of Texas, which means you get Anderson's credit by taking the community college class, and you get community college class credit. Another dual credit program that we're glad to offer is UT On-Ramps, so a partnership with the University of Texas to once again offer a dual credit course. In fact, On-Ramps students are kind of concurrently enrolled as an Anderson student while taking a UT On-Ramps class. And it's a little bit different than dual credit because all of the ACC classes are taken either at Anderson or at an ACC location in some cases. On-Ramps is actually taught by an Anderson teacher and a UT professor at the same time, kind of like co-taught. So the model is a little bit different. And also the similarities, because they're dual credit, is that you could potentially get college credit and high school credit, but the offerings that we have at Anderson for UT On-Ramps are a little bit different. In fact, I think we might have a difference right here. We do. Yes, we have English 4, geoscience, statistics, physics, and fundamentals of computer science this year. Those are our 5 On-Ramps UT offerings. And then, of course, we have advanced placement. And so this is the one I think most people are most familiar with because it's been around for many, many years. Advanced placement classes are high school classes that prepare students to take an exam at the very end of the school year. Your score on that exam determines whether or not you can earn college credits, and anyone can take an AP class and an AP exam. It's self-selection, and many of our AP courses also double as a state graduation requirement. So a simple example of that is that we have AP Biology, and students need a science class. So if you're a junior or senior and you choose AP Biology, it's going to be your science, but it's also going to be potentially a way you could earn college credit. The class that freshmen can choose from all of these that we've talked about, from IB, AP, dual credit, and on-ramps, the class that freshmen can choose is going to be AP Human Geography. We have a number of students who, as they start thinking about their first year in high school, are trying to determine how much rigor, how many challenging classes am I willing to take, do I feel comfortable taking, and this is effectively going to be the most rigorous course offering we can offer. In freshman year, it's advanced placement, which means students get to take the AP exam for geography at the end of the year. It counts for the geography credit that all of our freshmen do. So every freshman's going to take geography, but if you want to take the most rigorous offering, AP is it. And it's oftentimes going to be the way to introduce students to that level of rigor, that kind of challenging academic experience. But we also have such a range after freshman year that if a student chooses to hold off and not take AP Human Geography, they'll have plenty of other chances to introduce themselves to rigorous content a little bit later. Now we're going to talk about our CTE programs, our career and technical education programs. We have a wide variety of career ed classes at Anderson, and we have, of course, our robotics building, kind of a bespoke building for us that has some really incredible opportunities for students in there because of A, the equipment we have, and B, the number of programs we have there. So we're going to talk about all of our CTE, and I'll focus a little bit as well on what you can do if you're into robotics and engineering at Anderson. So we have 10 areas of study: biomedical science, digital communications, business entrepreneurship, engineering, business finance, manufacturing technology, cybersecurity, advanced machinery and mechanics, which is our robotics program, design and multimedia arts, and programming and software development. And everything here, engineering, manufacturing technology, machine mechanics, which is our robotics, and programming and software development, that's all housed in our robotics building. So here's a little example of the work that those students do. Now, one of the questions that we get kind of in the midst of the course selection process, so as 8th grade students are looking at the classes they need to pick, is how do I figure out what mathematics class to take? And the math pathway is actually very straightforward in the first 3 years of mathematics for high school, and then branches off in lots of different directions. So the first 3 years for students will always be Algebra 1, Geometry, and then Algebra 2. But of course, we have many students here at Murchison who are taking either Algebra 1 or Algebra 1 and Geometry while they're in middle school, which means their first high school class will be Algebra 2. And after Algebra 2, the offerings go in many different directions, including the traditional pathway that you think of after Algebra 2, which is pre-calculus, a number of other options, including 2 different types of statistics classes. We have an on-ramp statistics and an AP statistics. We have, after that, calculus, or for some students, if they're in the IB program, then IB mathematics. We have a range of other mathematics courses that kind of range from some very advanced math classes that are kind of unique to us, like the IB, to some traditional classes that juniors and seniors can take after Algebra 2, such as advanced quantitative reasoning. And so really, after Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2, the pathway is different for every student. But before then, it's traditional, it's those 3 classes in that order, and the real choice that students have is what level of those classes do I want to take? The advanced level, which is the honors version, or the on-level version of the class.
So one of the big asks from a lot of our families, a lot of our students as they come through the pathway is ninth graders who start with Algebra 2, as Mr. Horwood was alluding to, their pathway can take a lot of different directions. And what we have done in the past is kind of suggest this pathway because in our historical time, we have not had anything beyond AP Calculus BC. And so what we've done is make that as streamlined as possible. Now we have seen the greater need for offering math beyond AP Calculus BC. And so that is something that every year as the number of students who is in that category grows, we have to make slight adjustments to what happens. So right now we have a few students who are doing student sharing with LASA. The principal of LASA has allowed us to send some students over there to take some of their more advanced math classes, but that number of students is growing, so we will eventually be at a place where we offer those advanced math classes on campus, either through IB higher level math or training one of our teachers to design and teach the class that they are going to for a LASA. So they have the curriculum, we just haven't had the numbers to justify it, but we are getting those numbers. So that's something that's coming in the future. But if your incoming ninth grader takes Algebra 2, there's going to be a lot of choices for where they go after that, depending. Some students, they may say, I don't really feel the need to go into the really rigorous advanced math classes my senior year, so they can follow this pathway, and that's totally fine. But we do have a lot of students who are very, very motivated to become engineers or really challenge themselves, and so they will want to take the most rigorous math class possible. And so soon we will be able to offer them that at Anderson.
But you do take geometry before you get to Algebra 2?
Yes. So if you're coming in ninth grade taking Algebra 2, you've taken geometry here, or whatever middle school you go to.
And we're also going to talk very briefly about science offerings. The reason that we talk a little bit about science is that there's a lot of opportunity for variety in science choices after freshman and sophomore year. So all of our freshmen will take biology. You can choose on-level or advanced biology based on your level of interest in science. And then all of our sophomores take either physics or chemistry. And at the moment, the most common one within our group of sophomores is chemistry. So the majority of our sophomores have a chemistry class and a biology class. And then after that sophomore year, the way that the graduation requirements work, you have any choice of any science courses you're interested in, and we try to make sure we have a wide variety of options for our students. So that's going to include the health and medical sciences, such as anatomy, microbiology, or pathophysiology. That's going to include classes such as astronomy and biotechnology. That's going to include offerings in the environmental science world, such as AP Environmental Science and Environmental Systems. That's going to include a combination of physics and chemistry in IPC. And then most recently, we've added an on-ramps geoscience class as another option too. And now I'm going to pass things over to Ms. Orton to talk about our arts department.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kayla Orton. I am the director for the Trojan Bells, but I am also here on behalf of our entire fine arts department at Anderson. Let me get out of the way so you can see. But we have a very robust fine arts program at Anderson. Every student does need to satisfy a one-year fine arts credit for graduation. And I think the biggest thing that we would all agree on is it's important to be a part of something once you get to high school, whether that's athletics, whether that's speech and debate. There's so many different options, but there are a lot of really special smaller departments within our fine arts department that we would love for you to consider. We think it's really important to get plugged in soon. So we're hoping that depending on what your students are a part of at the middle school level, and maybe they're not in a fine art yet, but we would love to see them join us during that freshman year and continue to progress all the way through graduation. Building that community is so important, not just for the students, but oftentimes for families as well. There's really special ways to connect with the full community. But our art department, our visual art department, has a lot of really great options, including drawing, painting, fibers, lots of great a little bit more individualized options for our visual art. Our band is incredible. We had the honor of attending the state marching competition a couple of weeks ago, which was the first time in 15 years that they had advanced to that level. So incredible opportunities for them. Our theater department is also a really special one. Rachel Sini and Justin Laverne have just created a really tight-knit group there. And those, I don't know if you've ever had an opportunity to go see one of their shows or the musicals, what they're working on right now. I highly recommend it. They are great productions. Our orchestra, I guess while we're here, I can talk about dance. I am partial to the dance department, obviously. One thing that I think is really special about our dance department at Anderson is that we can offer both fine arts and PE credit. So our varsity dance team, the Trojan Bells, is a really great way for those dancers that maybe do have a little bit more formal dance training, but there's really a home for everybody within our dance department. We partner up with athletics to provide dance classes that are specifically structured for athletes. So it primarily focuses on flexibility, agility, balance, stuff like that. There's not enough hours in the day to fully dedicate to stretching and stuff like that and cross training within athletics. So we have a female athletes dance class as well as a male athletes dance class. We also try to provide PE credit options for our other fine arts. We have a Broadway dance class that is catered towards our theater kids, towards choir kids, and people that share that love of the arts. And it's a little bit more specialized than just a generalized PE class. But if you take dance for all 4 years, and this is really true of most fine arts at Anderson, if you take them for 4 years, that junior and senior year credit will be an honors elective credit. So it's a really great boost for that GPA. Most of these fine arts, once you're involved, scoring high on from a grading perspective is really easy to do, is because it's something that you enjoy doing. So I think we had left off on orchestra. We have a great orchestra department. Here's a little bit more from our visual arts. We have some incredible choir options. We have Miss Taylor from Murchison has started with us at Anderson this year, and she's doing really great things for our program. And then guitar. I'm trying to think if I've forgotten anything. But our guitar program is also a wonderful option for your students. There really is something for everybody. And like I said, just finding something for your student to be involved in is important, and getting them plugged in as early as possible is definitely the way that you're going to get the most out of that high school time.
There are a lot of opportunities for me to talk to students at the beginning of the year, whether it's our Trojan Transition Camp that happens during the summer, or our assemblies at the very beginning of the year. And the one thing I say at every single one of them, and they may get tired of me saying it, and I don't care, is that they will spend more time at Anderson awake than they will at home for the next 4 years. And the look on their faces as they realize that I'm absolutely correct is one of horror, and then also one of realization of what I'm saying is that they have 4 years there to make that experience their own. And so I tell them, join something. Be a part of something that will make your time at Anderson much more enjoyable for you, and you'll get much more out of it. While we're talking about fine arts, we do share an attendance zone boundary with the high school that has the Fine Arts Academy, the Fine Arts Magnet, McCallum. And so I would never say that I want to steal students from their programs. YouTube, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that if a student is waffling between Anderson and McCallum, and fine arts is their deciding factor, we have those programs at Anderson, and we are absolutely putting the resources and the manpower and the amazing teaching behind it as well. So I'll leave that little caveat there. Athletics is next. Coach Hatcher is on his way, so I'll save this for the end. But I will say, last year, all of our sports played games past the regular season. So whether that's playoffs or whether that's the play-in game for the playoffs because it was tied for a playoff spot. We had several district champions. We had lots of teams move on to the playoffs. This year already we have a state champion cross-country runner. We have multiple district champions. Our football team, like I said, won by district championship. And so they're moving on to area championship tomorrow in Houston. Volleyball was by district champion and area champion. And so our athletics programs are experiencing an immense amount of success, and it's really, really fun to watch. It's exhausting to drive to Seguin and Brenham in the same week to watch the playoff games, but my gosh, it is so much fun. And my heart can't take the good nervousness anymore, but I'll be here for it. Oh my God.
My nephew is the kicker. So.
Ryan? Yeah.
So it was like,
oh my gosh. The entire time, I started making a TikTok at the beginning of it, and I stopped. I had to stop because I was just concentrating so much on the game. Anyway, lots of amazing athletics programs, and I'm going to let Hatcher go into them in more detail, but we'll skip ahead.
We always
Boy,
get questions.
what a segue.
Yes. We always get questions about lunch. So quite simply, only seniors have the option to go off campus to eat. And our lunch break, every student has lunch break at the same time. It's the same lunch for every student. So we have an incredible cafeteria. We have some beautiful courtyards. We have lots of spaces all around the campus to be able to enjoy your lunch.
I will say, and I say this a lot, people sleep on our food. Like, our food is really, really, really good. Ophelia does an amazing job. I eat lunch there all the time, mostly because she forces it upon me. She's, eat, you need to eat. No, she's great, but like, the food is really, really tasty.
Are you saying some of the clubs meet during lunchtime?
They do.
That'd be great.
And so one thing that I wanted to make sure you guys knew about is our College and Career Center. Most students use the College and Career Center in their junior and senior year predominantly, but everyone, freshmen and sophomores, are welcome to come to the College and Career Center as well. It's where we assist students with college research, applications, their college entrance essays, workshops for FAFSA, especially later on in students' high school career. Basically, it's also the place where we invite representatives from universities, not just in Texas, not just around the United States, but from around the world. We have visitors from around the world who come to Anderson to sit with our students, you know, in a setting like this where they basically get that kind of one-on-one time with reps. And it is such an incredible opportunity to learn about the universities that are out there, but also the application process for those universities, which is, you know, somewhat complicated and really does need a little bit of support and hand-holding through it, and having the opportunity to meet with representatives from the actual institutions themselves makes the world of difference. And now I'll take a moment to talk about the Counseling Center, about our team. I did mention that we kind of have a unique approach to working with 8th graders. So your students will not need to wait until 9th grade to meet with the Anderson counseling team. We are going to come back to Murchison after students have selected their classes. And what we do is we sit down with every Murchison student, every 8th grade student individually, and review the class choices they made. And the reason we do this is to make sure, A, that if a student has any questions, they can ask us in person. And B, and this is really vital too, I think, to be able to review what they've done here at Murchison, so we make sure that what they're choosing at Anderson matches well with that. So it's an opportunity for them to have effectively direct academic advising with an Anderson counselor before they even join us at Anderson. We remodeled our approach. A few years ago, the approach used to be come in with all of this kind of information for families and students, and then give you guys like the choice sheet, especially those old-fashioned paper ones, and then submit them, and then if you had any questions, kind of call us later. What we realized is the way to really address questions and the way to make sure students really were selecting classes that were correct is let students explore the options, come to the course fair, learn about classes, pick the classes they want, and then once I see those class choices as a counselor, once Ms. Lamont sees those class choices as a counselor, we sit down with the 8th grade student and say, is this really what you need to do? Is this what you want to do? Do you have any questions for me about this class? So that all 8 classes are addressed in person. Plus, it gives us a chance to kind of talk to students about their whole high school experience as well. Once students actually get to Anderson, they'll be assigned a counselor by Alpha. They will work with us through 4 years to talk about academic advising, as I mentioned, and then also college and career planning or any other issues they want to address with a school counselor. And students reach us really directly. Once your first day at Anderson occurs, you're going to be given a website link, and basically that link goes directly to a form you fill out, say, I want to speak to a counselor, and then we call you right in. So it's that simple to speak to a counselor at Anderson. You sign in, we call you out of class. If it's an academic issue, we'll call you in as quickly as we can. If it's a personal issue, then we tend to drop everything and call you in immediately. And so the next thing that you're going to hear us talk about, not today, but across all of January and February, is that choice sheet process, okay? I encourage everyone to join us on the 22nd of January at the course fair. If you can't join for any reason, all of the materials that we share at the course fair will also be available on the website. As I mentioned earlier, there'll be a video that students watch here that kind of walks them through filling out the form. And since it is a Google form with drop-down menus, it's very straightforward for students to follow. And then the place to really come for personalized questions will be the virtual open office hours with the counsellor the day after the course fair. We have a link for all of our student clubs. There are so many clubs that we don't even include them necessarily on this screen, but please go to the website to check them out. And then also, I'm going to pass things over to Coach Hatcher to talk a little bit about sports and athletics.
Thank you. I'm Coach Hatcher. I'm the athletic coordinator over at Anderson. Talk about our programs that we have to offer. We have 18 programs, 9 boys, 9 girls sports. We encourage as incoming freshmen to do as many of those sports as you can. We don't prioritize one sport over another. We want them to have an opportunity to do everything. We have kids that are also in the band that play sports. All we ask whenever they do multiple sports, is that they communicate to each coach where they're at all times. That way we never get into an issue where one says, oh, I was at band or I was at football practice and he wasn't at either one. So that way both of us know, hey, I'm at band practice, and then that way there's never an issue with that. A little bit about our summer programs. So if you want to get to know the coaches during the summer, we have what we have is Coach Mo. He comes up and does an athletic workout in the mornings, and it's for boys, girls, everybody to come over. It's from incoming freshmen all the way to seniors. So it's a chance for them to kind of mix in with the older kids to get to know them before they get to high school. That way they feel more comfortable whenever the school year starts. Right now, just talking about our programs, our volleyball went 3 rounds, which is the furthest they'd ever been since 1998. Both our boys and girls water polo teams went 2 rounds into the playoffs. Our tennis team went to the regional finals. Band went to state. We have girls and boys basketball going on right now. Football is doing really well. So right now, every sport is just kind of rolling. We had a state championship in cross country with Kobe Huntress, who signed with UT. So right now we have a lot going on. It's fun. It's really fun to see everybody doing everything, and just a good time over at Anderson right now. Is there any questions? Just boys, or just girls? Just girls. Tennis is both. Tennis is both. So right here we have we have boys and girls soccer, softball, baseball, swimming is both boys and girls, tennis is both boys and girls, track, water polo, wrestling, lacrosse, golf, cross country, and basketball. All those are both boys and girls sports. Usually if it's for the fall sports, it'll be early August, and you'll get a lot of that information before they leave here in April and May. The coaches will come over and we'll meet with PE classes and everybody, and we'll get, if you're interested, then we'll get emails and stuff, and it'll go out. Plus it'll be on all of our social media stuff. Some sports don't, like for football, we don't have tryouts. If you come out, everybody makes a team. But it's not the same with all the other sports. But that information usually gets out. It gives you about at least a month heads up before it happens. Anything else? All right. Thank you.
When we win the game tomorrow, it'll be the furthest any Anderson football team has ever gone. Yeah. Yeah. I said it at the community pep rally. Every day is a good day to be a Trojan, but there have been a lot of really good days to be Trojans lately. We've had a lot of success. So many ways to stay informed. We have our website, of course. We have a Facebook page. We have a Twitter/X. No, I don't think anyone really uses that anymore. But our Instagram is pretty regularly updated. We have the Trojan Times, which is the PTSA weekly newsletter. And that has a lot of information that the PTSA has. And then I also send out a weekly community update to all parents, staff, and students. And then Blend and Frontline for all course assignments and grades. So there's lots of ways to stay involved and to get communication from me, from the parents, from the teachers. That's fine. And lots of upcoming dates. So December 4th is another one of our IB information sessions. I can't speak enough about how amazing Mr. Doctor is, because those IB information sessions, we've already had 2, and they've both been the most people we've ever seen at these IB information sessions. So the next one is December 4th. January 12th and 13th, our counselors are going to do classroom visits. January 22nd is the course fair, presentations, tours. I did want to make a quick note on that. You may have heard in the past of something that we do called Middle School Showcase, where we bring the Murchison middle schoolers up to Anderson and we give them a little pep rally, and there's some performances by our fine arts group. Because of some weird scheduling things, we are unable to have that this year. So what we've done is we've actually added a bunch of that to the course fair. So our course fair, where you can come and see all of our programs, is going to be much more robust. We're going to have those performances happening during course fair so that you can actually check out those programs while you're there. And we're going to have a lot more tours going on, led by Jill Spencer and some of our other counseling teams. So there are going to be opportunities for tours, and I know the kids like to get to Anderson to be on campus before 9th grade. So the course fair is going to be that opportunity for that. On January 23rd, we have a virtual Q&A session. February 9th, choice sheets are due. And then February 12th and 13th, Murchison's going to review the course sheets here. February 17th, we have more tours. So if you do want to book a tour, you can go on our website and just join any of the tours that they have scheduled. So we usually have about 30 to 40 people on each tour, and it's a really great way to see the campus before you come. And now we'll open it up for questions. Yes?
So how do we start getting information? It's up to us to go to all those places, or is there something that it's like all of a sudden we're on your emailing list and we'll start to see the information?
The only mailing list that I'm aware of that you can opt into is the Trojan Times. So if you go to the Anderson PTSA website, you can opt into the Trojan Times. Mine, I send it to, I only have access to Anderson Contact, so I can't send that out. But the Trojan Times, you can opt into that. And then all of our social media, the Instagram is the most updated, but that's the only one. I don't know if there's a counseling.
Yes, one thing that we will do is that when it comes to course selection information, the newsletter that we have, we're going to make sure that that gets to the counselors here and that will get rolled out to you guys as well, because that newsletter acts as a way to inform Anderson students and their families about course selection, but also you guys too.
And with one of the newsletters that you will have access to, we're going to link everything. So today we gave you a lot of information, and we're going to point on that newsletter where exactly to go. So it should be helpful for you as well.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of talking about science and math. I didn't see breakdown of humanities and English options, social studies options as well. Is there another place where we can get that info as well?
Yeah, so on our course guide, we have all of those listed out. We have, for English, for example, it goes through the pretty standard, like English 1, English 2, English 3, English 4, and there's in those many options of AP, on-ramps, and IB. But it doesn't have like the variations, because science we have, you know, anatomy and physiology and biotechnology and all these things. English is pretty much just straight down English 1, 2, 3, 4, and the level of advance that you take it. Social studies, we offer, I would say, the normal. We have a few social studies electives in there, but they aren't for the, they're social studies elective credits. But we follow the pathway of human geo, world geo, US history, and then government and economics. And then throughout those, there's just differing levels of advanced AP, IB, and those are the courses that they'll take.
So how many, just to break it down, out of 8 classes as a freshman, how many options are we looking at? 2 options or 3 options?
That's a really great question. Yes, no, that's a really great question, because when students get to see that course sheet, that's the Google form and the drop downs, there are 4 locked-in slots: English, mathematics, and then the social studies, which is geography, and then the science, which is biology. So really for a freshman, out of those 4, the only thing that's going to be different from student to student is where you're starting with your mathematics. So if you're here at Murchison and you've done Algebra 1, then your first year of mathematics at Anderson would be geometry. But if you've never done Algebra 1, then your first year of mathematics at Anderson would be Algebra 1, right? So where there's variation for freshmen, it's going to be mathematics. The one thing I will say is that after that, the 4 slots for students out of the other 8, so those are locked in, the other 4 slots are going to be student choice, but big kind of asterisk here. We strongly recommend that you take into consideration those other graduation requirements, such as languages, PE and art, because if you want to do a 4-year pathway, a really simple example is if you want to do 4 years of dance, you'd need to start in freshman year. So one of those slots, while it's not locked in, it's like, you know, if you want to dance 4 years, one of them will be a dance class. Or if you're a baseball player, and that's a double-blocked sport later on when you're a little bit older, but in the first year it's a single-block sport. You're kind of like, well, I want to play baseball, so I need to make sure that one slot is sort of assigned to that. So 4 slots that are locked in for English, history, math, and science, and then 4 that are your choice. But out of your choices, that plan for beyond freshman year really takes effect. The other thing that a lot of freshmen do is, because they're undecided about things they want to do in the future, they might say, okay, I know that I'm going to need to study a language. I'm going to select a language for, for freshman year, something I've never studied before, and I may do that for 2 years, or I may do it for 4 years. I'm not sure yet, but it's time to pick those things that may become a pathway. So 4 locked in, 4 by choice, but from the choices, a lot of strategy involved.
So my son is taking the Vietnamese, so I guess he would be completing his language requirement. So how does that?
He does. That's exactly right. When you're done with something that's a requirement, you end up with an open slot for any elective.
I was just saying that our Vietnamese program is designed so that during 3 years at Murchison, they earn the entire language credit. Because Anderson does not have a continuation of that.
Correct. We offer many languages, but Vietnamese is not one. Yeah.
Do you want to mention though, if they're interested in IB, they might want to?
That is a really good point as well. If your student is considering the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program, then they will be studying languages all throughout that program and would need to study a language all the way through high school. So that is very straightforward if you're coming in and you're already in a language that we offer. So if a student's, for instance, studying Spanish here, you know, it's recommended to do Spanish 3 if you want to be an IB student. If you are taking a language that we don't offer, then if IB is on the, it may not be confirmed yet because you may be undecided, but it's being seriously considered, then please do take a look at all of the language offerings we have, because IB students in that diploma program will continue to study advanced language in IB, which means they need to study a language from the start of high school.
But it's 3 years, right?
So for IB, they're going to have you do a level let me say this correctly, at least a standard level exam, which means you would probably want to be in the 4th level of that language by the time you're an IB student, or doing year 3 during junior year and doing year 4 during senior year. So short answer, for IB students, effectively it's 4 years of a language. For everyone else, it's 2 years to do kind of like the state requirements, and we always say it's often recommended for university-bound students to do 3 or more. So it becomes a little bit different for every student with their plan. 2-year minimum for languages, 3 years is common. For IB students, it's all 4.
I just had a question about for this year right now, where is Anderson on the percent of capacity being full, and then what's the average cost?
On percentage of being full, we are at 97%, which is, I don't consider us full. So our capacity based on, we've just had a lot of documents put out by the district on what our capacity is with all the consolidation plans coming out. They put us at 97% with a capacity of 2230. But I would say our capacity is actually significantly more than that. So they say we're at 97%. Average class size, it always depends. But for our core areas, our average class size, I would say probably around 30-ish. Yeah, I mean, it always depends on the class. But I would say around 30. Any other questions?
What's the future look like as an IB graduate? So when you're in IB program, you take some sort of test to pass, or is it just through the classes, then you get the diploma? And then what does the future look like after?
Yeah, for every IB class you do take a test. And so that is, you get a score of 1 to 7, and that kind of determines the amount of college credit that you get with that score. So it's very similar to AP in a lot of ways, where that score you get on that test determines whether or not you get college credit to excuse you from the college class. And so for every class you take, you do that. And there's also the extended essay. So it's that rigorous program. Beyond high school, the IB diploma looks really good on college applications. It really helps kind of open doors in terms of, I know a lot of our IB students join college as sophomores because of the number of tests that they take and how that translates to the college credit. The IB program was originally started in Europe, and it's very much known as a global program. So those efforts really do help, especially if you're looking at universities outside of America, which a lot of our students do. And so because IB is so known worldwide, a lot of our students will make sure that they do that because they're looking to go beyond America for their universities, but also within America. It really helps your college application process. It really helps your college journey, and it sets them up for that success beyond high school.
Is there a place where we can get guidance or ask questions around which level is right for our students, whether it be on level AP, honor, whatever all of them are? Yeah.
Yes, we really want to kind of individualize that advice, so I'm glad you asked, because one of the things that we do is if a student is really curious about whether on-level versus advanced, or in the case of geography, but AP as well, is the right fit for them, then we can talk both in those return meetings in February when we come to students, or you can reach out to your Alpha counselor directly at Anderson to talk specifically about what that content is like, what the expectations in the classroom will be like, and that classic question, how much homework / study time do I need to dedicate to it? The phrase we come back to again and again is balance. Because what we say to students is, we never doubt that you're capable of doing well in an academically rigorous class. We know our students rise to that challenge. It's more about the time that you can commit. So if you have like half a dozen other things that you're involved in, where are you going to find that time so that you can be successful in that class? So the discussion really is individualized to that student's needs, and it will definitely be your Alpha counselor at Anderson.
Along with that, as you, so that's a good question for when you're looking into ninth grade. Is going to be your counselors, your best choice. As students are at Anderson and talking about course selection for next year, January of every year, the teachers will kind of go through each student and talk about what the next year might look like for them. I know our math teachers are really kind of hands-on in the course selection process of saying, this is the class that we recommend you take. And then it's always up to the student, but the math teacher will go through each student and say, hey, calculus is in your future, here's how we set you up for that. And then, or sometimes the student will say, I don't really want to do calculus, I want to be a writer. And so they'll be like, okay, here's how you get your graduation requirements and still kind of stay on the same track that you're on. And so those are conversations that happen in January every year with the teachers and the students.
And I would just jump in, along with the conversations, we have our course offering guide, and they have course descriptions, like everything's hyperlinked, so you can go in there and you can click on it, and the teachers have kind of spelled out what the expectations are going to be for on-level versus honors. So that can also be a resource, but definitely we're here to support as well.
Yes, and when we come in January, before students have worked on their course selection, we're going to show them examples of those course descriptions, and it's done by our teachers in a side-by-side format. So it'll have like the on-level class and a description of everything that you do and kind of what you'll be expected to do in terms of exams and tests and assessments, and then side-by-side with the AP or the advanced version of that class so that students can really see that comparison.
I have a quick question about grades, and our honors class is weighted heavier in your GPA, and then since my husband and I went to different schools in different states, he thinks like an A is like 93 and above. Can you just clarify?
Absolutely, and I'm also going to use this as an opportunity to pitch for one of the presentations we're going to do on Course Fair Night. One of the presentations we're going to do on Course Fair Night is called High School. It's called High School 101, and so I'm going to give you kind of a brief answer to that excellent question, and then if you're interested in more details about GPAs and how grading happens, that presentation is about that. Also, we're going to have some components in our 8th to 9th grade transition presentation that we do on Course Fair Night that will also cover this as well. But an honours or an advanced or an IB or an ACC dual credit or an AP or an on-ramps class, any of those that I just listed, so anything that's considered advanced coursework is on a 5.0 scale. And a 5.0 scale goes into your weighted GPA a point higher than an on-level class would. So anything at Anderson that's offered in that advanced version is more highly weighted in your GPA. To answer the question of what is an A, here in our grading system, an A is 90 or above. So it's like if you're looking at 100% being a perfect grade, 90 to 100 is an A, and then 80 to 89 is a B, and then 70 to 79 is a C.
No minuses or pluses.
That's exactly right.
And how that translates to the GPA is the next part of that question. The way the GPAs work in Austin ISD is every point is a 1/10 of a point of the GPA. So, for example, if you get a 100 in a weighted class, that would be a 5.0. If you get a 99 in that same class, the points that go to your GPA is 4.9. So it kind of translates that way. A 93 would be a 4.3. And in an unweighted class, a 93 would be a 3.3. So it translates that way, and it just kind of goes down. So it starts getting, that's like, when we get into our top 10%, which are our ranked courses, and he'll go over this in High School 101 about ranked GPA versus cumulative GPA versus your weighted GPA and unweighted GPA. We can talk to you about all of those until your head is spinning and it's all disgusting. And then, but the important thing to know is the ranked GPA doesn't include electives. So it is all your core classes, essentially all 8 semesters of your core classes and your 4 semesters of your required world language class. And they take your top grades for 8 semesters of all of those for each. And so when we're talking about ranking, that's how it is measured out. So so that students, when they're worried about being valedictorian, which we have so many high-performing students, they're all worried about being valedictorian, their elective classes don't figure into that. And so that's a conversation we have every year as well.
And then just two added kind of high-level pieces, in our district we have a conversion scale, and so we can give you access to that because then it kind of makes a little bit more sense. But then the other piece of it is from district to district, they do GPA a little bit different. So if you're trying to figure out, well, how does my kid performing, or, like how does my GPA in Austin ISD compare to a kid in Round Rock ISD? It's not really apples to apples.
And the fun part is, with colleges, when you submit your transcript, from what we're hearing, they mostly just throw that out anyway and do their own calculation. So they'll submit the transcript and your GPA is on there and they're like, we don't care about that. We have this certain way of calculating your acceptance or GPA that we look at. So.
Which actually perfectly cycles back to your question, which is when you make that decision about a class, knowing that a university is going to see the transcript, they'll see the GPA and grades, but they'll also see the type of class that you took, and they may just factor in, what are we looking for? The most advanced course that you're able and willing to take is the class you always should take, because that's going to look strongest on the transcript, regardless of GPA.
How do you mean?
So back then it was top 10%, you guys had public tier.
Yeah.
And now it's like, that's where it kind of comes.
Yeah, and some schools are top 6%, I believe, and so yeah, that's why we legally have to rank the top 10% is because of the Texas public universities and colleges and their auto admit statuses. But everyone is slightly different. Yeah. Fun. Texas. Yeah. I had a lot to learn moving to Texas from Colorado. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.